Hi kids, how's it going? It's me again. Okay, so I had asked previously if anybody would be interested in seeing my, I don't know, some art supplies and basically my watercolors. And so I don't have like a gigantic collection or anything. I mean, comparatively speaking, you know, lots of people have tons more watercolors than I do, but yeah, basically, I'm gonna say this: what I have, I like, and for the most part, and because I don't tend to keep art supplies that I don't really use or that I don't think I'm gonna use, or so. So everything I'm going to show you guys pretty much are things that I use. So maybe not all the time, but anyway, so to kind of break this up, what I thought I would do is do a couple different categories. And so I think we'll look at the Gansai watercolors first. And there's a lot of wishy-washy kind of information that goes around about Gansai watercolors. And I just want to say they are watercolors, okay? Like, they are. Like, Google it. Anyway, they're just made with a different binder. And so they're just different. That's all. But they're still watercolors. Anyway, and I love them. They're really useful for lots of different applications. I don't want to go into like a whole deep thing about it, but they definitely have their uses, and they're extremely versatile. One of the things that I think is nice about them, from a coloring book kind of standpoint, is that they're kind of intended to be used from the pan and not necessarily intended to be like mixed, I mean, not saying you can't mix them, but I'm just saying that the intention is that they're used directly from the pan, and that comes from traditional Eastern watercolor techniques where each color is prepared independently and then used directly, from that onto the paper or whatever. And so each color is used independently. They're not really mixed that much. And what's interesting is that if you ever watch videos of like traditional, Japanese watercolor painting, you'll see that they are actually able to recapture the pigment from their paints. So there's really no waste. But they do keep each color separate, and then when they're done painting, they're able to actually capture that pigment, dry it, and store it for future use. And a lot of the process of doing some of these watercolors is done in layers, lots and lots of different layers. So anyway, it's just a different style, but it's definitely watercolor. Anyway, and I'm not saying that all Gansai watercolor paints are that same thing. Like that's kind of a different thing. But anyway, it's just kind of the same idea where you're using colors directly from the pan. And so they often will provide colors that are not as transparent, or there's really not any pigment information given with Gansai style watercolors. Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know. But anyway, so let's get into it. So I do have this is there's a couple sets here that I have picked up recently that I actually have not, I haven't really looked at. I mean, I've looked at them, but I haven't used them. So hang on, it's kind of hard to open these boxes. So these Artistro watercolors are on Amazon, and they have the listing. There's, I think, 5 different sets that you can get, and I think two of the sets are sets of metallics that are like 6 paints in one set. But then they have this one that's actually 12 different colors, and I wanted it because I like these colors that are in there, and also this one. But you know, just visually, I haven't, you know, like I said, I haven't used them or anything, and I really like the look of this sparkly gold one. So I'll do a video, I think, shortly after this, where I'll actually swatch these out. And it's nice because they give you the white paper and also the black paper. And then a lot of times they insert these little like palettes in the sets. And those are great because you can use these for lots of different mediums, like your water-based markers or Neocolor 2s, and, you know, watercolor pencils and that kind of thing. And these work just like the Derwent or the Caran d'Ache palette. So anyway, so I have those yet to really try those out. And I think these were like $12.99, something like that. And then there's this set of 48, and you gotta love the box, right? It's so cute. And so this one is 48 colors. Gives you this nice swatch, and another one of these palette, and it's like, it's got a little bit of texture on one side and then smooth and glossy on the other side. And did I need more Gansai watercolors? Probably not, but I like to have all the colors in the world. And so I just kind of had to assume that there's going to be colors in this set that are going to be different than what I already have. So there probably will be some duplicates, but I know there'll be some variations. So, and you'll see later here in just a minute how I store my Gansai watercolors by color family, and so kind of side by side. So that just makes them a little bit more useful to me. Anyway, so I haven't swatched these or anything yet either, but I'm pretty excited to look at them and see how the colors compare to the other sets that I have. So yeah, so there's those. And I'll swatch these on a video along with this set at a future time. And then, just so that I can get these kind of off my desk. So as far as Kuretake, Gansai, Tambi sets, there's quite a few that they've made. There's some that I don't have. Some of the metallic ones I don't have. But at some point, I think this was actually the very first set of Kuretake watercolors that I bought. I don't remember. Actually, I think that's a lie. I think the first set was actually this one, the 48, and then I bought this one thinking that this was different colors than what was in here, but it's not. They're all duplicates of what's in here. So anyway, so this one I just kind of have stored away for, you know, if I run out of any of those colors. Anyway, so then I have the 48 set, which the paints are not in here, but I'm keeping the box just because. And then I also have the Art Nouveau set. again, they're not in the box anymore because I'm storing them in a different way. So anyway, so those. And then I've got this set also, which I did buy on US Amazon. And I think you can find it on Amazon Japan, but that's not where I got it from the regular US Amazon website, and it was free shipping. But it was imported from Japan, like it was shipped here from Japan. So it took like a couple weeks to get here. Anyway, I bought this maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. Pricing on it has gone up since then. I think I paid $67, and now it's listed at $99. So this is the Kisso brand, Kissoh. And here's a look at all the colors together. I love that there's neons in there. And yeah, I just thought it was a beautiful set. This is my own little swatch that I did to keep in my little containers, my little palettes. But yeah, anyway, so there's this set, and it's nice because it has these two trays. So, and I don't know, I just love the packaging on some of this stuff. And this box is beautiful. So, anyway, but none of the paints are in there either. And so, let me show you. This is kind of how I have my Gansai watercolors stored. So I took them all out of those boxes and put them into color families. And I bought these pencil boxes. And I can fit 12 colors flat in each case. And I didn't stick them down or anything because I wanted to be able to pull colors out easily as I'm painting, right? And, you know, choose colors that I want to use and then put the boxes away, and then I can put them back where they go. So I did a little swatch for each box, and then I laminated each one, and I numbered them. Any of the numbers that has a K at the end is a Kuretake, and then the other ones that don't have a letter next to them came from that Kisso brand. So yeah, and they're all different. Like all these red, they look very similar in the pan or all together, but when you swatch them out, there's definitely, you know, differences in all of those different reds. There were some families where I wound up with some extra colors. I don't know what happened to that one. Oh, there it is. It's got flipped around. So sometimes they do come out of the pans, but since they have numbers on the back of them, so they're pretty easy to put back into order wherever they go, according to my little swatch. So yeah, so these are blues and like teals, turquoises. And then I've got my purples, lavenders, and then I just stuck a white in there. So I've got room for 2 more. And then here's my like pinks, my pink shades, pink colors. Not really shades, but different pinks, some kind of skin tones and that kind of thing. A few neons in there. Oranges. So this is just such a nice way to be able to access the colors from all of those sets just really easily, you know? So these are kind of you know, ochres and that kind of thing, some grays, and then I stuck a gold in there. And blues. There's all the blues. Well, a lot of the blues. Yeah. There's a couple of like more turquoise kind of colors in here too, but darker blues, greens. See, this one I had a couple extra, so those just kind of float around on top. But I could put, you know, 2 layers of paints in here. So I am going to take that other set of 48 that I got and incorporate them into these sets because there's plenty of room. I can add, you know, I can add more. So just have to make sure that they're dry when I put them back in here. And then these are my yellows. All my yellows. I love organizing art supplies. It's just so fun. And then browns. My browns. And more greens. So these are the more like lighter greens. So yeah, so those are the Kuretake and the Kiso brand of Gansai style watercolors. And then I do have a few other Kuretake sets. I just recently broke down and bought these, and I know that they have another set that has come out of granulating colors. I will probably wait until I find them really cheap on sale somewhere, but at this point they're not. And then these are the two sets of Kuretake. These are the gem colors and the pearl colors. So I just put them in these little tins. These are just little pencil tins that you can grab on Amazon. And I put magnets on these. So those kind of stay put. So I'm able to actually store these upright. That's how I mostly store a lot of my metallic watercolors. And then this is the metal, or the like kind of like, I call them frost colors, like frosty sort of colors from that Kiso set. And then also 3 of the, I think 2 of these came from the Kuretake set. This is from the Kuretake set. So this one, and this one came from the Kuretake set. And the rest are from that Kiso brand. So, yeah. So, like, these are pretty similar to the pearl colors of Kuretake. But, yeah. So, that's those. And then I also got this little set. So, this is actually the brand on Amazon says Mozart. But on the box, when you get the set, it's branded as Komerebi, Komerebi, Gansai watercolors. And it's a set of 40 colors. And yeah, so I put 27 colors in here, 3 rows of 9. And that's great because that was all the, like, you know, like regular colors, you know. And then these were the metallic colors that came in that set, and I just swatched them on black, so I have them on in this little case. So, and they're all loose in there. But yeah, so I like having this little set. It's nice when I'm working on something and I just have like a lot of little pans on my desk, or I don't know. It's just fun organizing this kind of stuff. So, so there's 8 of those. So 27, 8 for 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 more of these somewhere. I don't remember where I put them, but yeah. So those are all my Gansai watercolors. And then this is also kind of a weird little thing, but I consider it to be watercolor also. These are the Color Burst. These are powders, so you can use them in lots of different ways. You can just kind of puff them out onto your paper and then spray them with water, or you can put water on your paper and then they kind of puff out like when you squeeze the bottle. A lot of them I've cut the top off because I just don't use them that way very much. But I honestly don't use these that often, but they are really fun to play with. They're extremely pigmented, like really, really strong pigment. They're actually, these are dyes. These are not made with traditional like watercolor pigments. They're definitely made with dyes, but they're beautiful colors. And so that I would use them more, what I did was I actually took them and these might be a little dusty. I took them in here. I gotta move a couple things out of the way. And I put a lot of the powder into a dropper bottle. Excuse me, and then filled it with water, and I just made it into a liquid watercolor. And this is extremely concentrated, like really concentrated, a lot more concentrated than I thought it was going to be. But I still have some of the powder in here, but you know, I did put quite a bit in the bottle. And then I just did a little swatch on here. But these are so fun, like because they're so concentrated, like just like one drop goes a really long way. And then you can use them like in a little palette like this, pick them up with a brush, or you can just drop them onto your page or whatever, you know, these kinds of palettes where you get lots of little wells, you know. And you can, oh, I've got purple over everything. Yeah, so they're nice for this type of palette. Or the other thing I did was I took a bunch of different colors of that, and I did a video just kind of, well, actually I think it was a live stream on my other channel, where I was sort of playing chemist and like taking those colors and putting them into these little tiny dropper bottles, and then adding different types of metallic like inks and things like that into them, and just made up all these different combinations of colors with metallic stuff in them. Different, you know, like the Kuretake Gold or the Aqua Bronze, or you know, different things like that. And these were ones that didn't turn out so great, but yeah, so I have these all numbered, little swatches. It's kind of like I don't know, it's like playing alchemy, you know. I love doing that kind of stuff, so gives me something to do. Anyway, so I have those in this little case. And then I also took I made some of these metallic. I don't remember where I got the metallic pigment from, or mica or whatever from, though. But I did make 5 different ones that have some kind of mica in them. And I need to put some I need to put a little metal BB or bearing in each of these bottles so that they mix up better. But anyway, so just fun to play with. And then I also had picked up all of these. These are brush like real brush, refillable pens, like fountain pens, kinda, you know. They've got the little screw thing, like here on the end, so you can just suck up, you know, more ink. So I actually diluted those just a little bit before I put them in here. And yeah, so anyway, so I have those same liquid watercolors in these pens. And I did also fill some of these. These are just little water brushes, little cheapo water brushes. With those. Just, I think I had done these. I did these before I got these. I don't remember. Anyway, and they kind of go along with these Jane Davenport brush pens. And these you have to store upright. Otherwise, they will leak around everything. They will leak on everything. So yeah, so these are all just, oops. It's like the whole set of them. And I don't use these as much as I should. I really should use these more because they're really fun. I think mostly what I like them for is just playing with colors, you know, just throwing color around on paper for mixed media type of applications, you know. So anyway, and then these I keep these stored also upright. So sometimes the brushes do get a little stiff and get a little dry, but all you have to do is just kind of dampen them a little bit. And I don't know if the ink that's in these is permanent or if it's water soluble. I haven't really tested that. So, you know, like as far as using it on paper and then, you know, like does it behave more like an ink tense where it's like permanent, or does it maintain that solubility after it's dried? So I don't know about that, but I'll figure it out one of these days. So yeah, so that's all. That's those. And then let's look at gouache. So a lot of people don't consider gouache to be watercolor. These are not gouache. These are actually acrylic, but I kind of have them stored in the same. This is my like refill drawer. So I have some acrylic gouache in here, which I do not consider to be watercolor. I consider it to be an acrylic. Like, that's basically what it is. It's gouache, but it has an acrylic binder, so it's permanent when it's dry, and you're not able to reactivate it. But, yeah, so then there's the Arteza metallic gouache in here. And then I think it was a 24 set of Holbein gouache. So I have these in palettes. This is just white Holbein gouache that I put into a little container and is dried down. So there's that. This Arteza metallic gouache is actually pretty fun. Like, I do like it. I don't have anything really bad to say about it. This is them in the little pans, little half pans. It reactivates pretty well, like re-wets pretty well. And it's, you know, as far as color, I don't have them swatched on black in here, but, or did I do it on the, no. Yeah, so you can see how they look on white. but they will look really nice on black paper. So, but that's the metallic Arteza gouache. And then where's my, this is the Holbein 24 colors. These are Arteza, these two right here. I like to have, when I do little palettes like this, if I have any extra space, usually I'll put some kind of metallic color in there just because it's nice to have. But, you know, they dry down and sometimes they do come loose. So, you know, it's gouache, and but it re-wets, you know, and it re-wets really, really well. So I've actually topped these off a couple times just because I like to have I don't like the big giant cracks that you get sometimes. So I'll go back in and like fill in the big cracks, but I pretty much have this one sorted out to where I don't think I need to fill them anymore. But yeah, I've topped them off a couple different times. This one right here is a watercolor. This is a Holbein, the Gray of Gray. And then I think this is also watercolor, Permanent White. Or no, this might be the Holbein white watercolor that came in or white gouache that came in the set. But you know, I do think of gouache as watercolor, and because really it can be used exactly the same as watercolor. Like it especially like certain colors maintain a lot of transparency, and so if you want to obtain transparent color, you can use gouache. You just need to use more water, right, to increase the transparency. I'm not saying that gouache is the same as watercolor, but I'm saying that you can use gouache as watercolor in a lot of different applications, okay? That's what I'm saying. And so I took some of my I took a bunch of my M. Graham watercolors and just mixed them with white gouache just to see, like, because I like playing chemistry, and just to see what kind of like color palette I could get, like a pastel color palette. And it actually worked really well, and I'm pretty happy with them. So you can still feel they're still a little sticky because that M. Graham watercolor is like a honey base, so it doesn't really ever dry completely in like that kind of form. It will dry on paper, but it maintains a little bit of tackiness until it's watered down. Anyway, so I made up this little palette of just, you know, pastel gouache, using gouache and watercolor. So anyway, so that's kind of fun to have. And then this is also, I think this palette, yeah, this is also Holbein gouache. I don't know why I have two palettes of Holbein gouache, but I do. I think I had made this one up originally, but I couldn't fit all the colors in there. But I put the colors that I thought I would use most often in here, and then I made the other palette up. I don't know, but I have two palettes with the Holbein. This actually goes up here, but yeah, I really like these palettes, and what I would like to do is get the paint out of here and somehow consolidate it with this, but anyway, I don't want to waste it, you know. Anyway, so then I have this set of gouache that I really like. This is the Niji brand of gouache, and it comes in these little jars, which is really nice because you can, if you keep the colors clean on your palette, you can, even if they dry out, you can put them back in the jar. You can never do that with a tube, right? Like if my Holbein gouache came in jars, I could easily take the paint from here and put it back in the jar, right? But you can't put toothpaste back in the tube, right? But I do like that about these, and they're really beautiful colors. I've used them, really vibrant, just nice, rich colors, and I've used them in a couple pages in my coloring books, and in other places too, in paintings. But yeah, so that just gives you an idea kind of what they look like. Yeah, they're just a nice little set, and I love them. They were, I think I did get them on Amazon. I might have bought them from Blick. I don't remember exactly, but I think they were around $30, something like that. So, and then I have this set of, I just bought these at a Blick store in Seattle because I was there, and I just thought, oh, those look kind of fun, Anyway, so this is the Grumbacher Deluxe Opaque Watercolors. So I'm going to say these are definitely a student grade. I would call them gouache because they are definitely, I don't know what they are. They're opaque watercolor, and they're kind of hard to re-wet. I do like that the little pops of color just pop out, and you can rearrange your palette if you want to. There's a couple of metallic colors, and then there's this white, but yeah, I haven't really used these a lot. This is one of the few sets that I have that I just don't really use very much. But it's, I don't know, I just like the novelty of it, kind of. And I like the little palette. I think it's cute. I might give it to my grandkids one of these days. I don't know. And then I do have a set of Himi gouache, but I have taken it out of, the box, and I have put each color into its own little container with a lid, and then put them all into this, like, this thing has a lid also. It's dusty. It's dusty because it's been sitting on top of a shelf, but it has this lid. This was cool because it was for Christmas ornaments. But yeah, so I still have the lid. And I got these little plastic, these are deli containers. And you can find these on Amazon in all different sizes. Like I have a bunch of 1 ounce ones. These are 1.5 ounce. But I have a bunch of 1 ounce ones, and then these are 4.5 ounce. You can get 2 ounce. These are 2 ounce. And they're just great because they are very watertight, airtight. Like, these are still wet. And so what I did, because I was having some issues with molding in my Himi gouache. So I wanted to rescue them. So about maybe 9-10 months ago, something like that, maybe even a year ago, I did take out every color, put it into a new container, added a little bit of water if it needed it. I used distilled water, and then I also added some 70% isopropyl alcohol to each one. And I haven't had any more molding. Like, it just stopped. And and all of the colors are still wet. And, you know, like, they're just not drying up anymore. And I like that because I like to be able to scoop the color out, right? Like, I know a lot of people don't care if their Himi gouache dries out because it is re-wettable. But part of the thing about jelly gouache, I think that a lot of people like, is that you can scoop it out and it's easy to mix. It's almost like working with acrylic paint in a way. Like, that's one of the nice things about the jelly gouache, is that it's more of a like a paste kind of consistency, right? Whoops, I just cracked that one. That sucks. I'm gonna have to put this in a new container. But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I just think this was a nice way for me to rescue them. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So some of them, so where it says medium added, I actually added some pouring medium, acrylic pouring medium to some of these. I don't know why, but I think I was just experimenting, just playing around. I was trying to see if, oh, that's why, because I was trying to see if I could make my Himi gouache into an acrylic gouache, right? Where it would be like waterproof. It didn't really work. So it didn't really work. I only tried it with pouring medium though. Like, I could try it with, like, I have a brand new 32-ounce jug of liquid glazing medium or something like that. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. So maybe I could try that and see if I could turn all of my Himi gouache into acrylic gouache, right? Just by adding some of that medium. But I was trying to do that before I had basically reconstituted these, because these had dried out pretty dry. Like, not 100%, but some of them were, you know, near completely dry while they were still in their original pan. But anyway, so I just like to experiment and just play around with things. Where's the one that I cracked? Shoot. Which one did I crack, you guys? Oh, I put it up there. Okay. I need to put that in a new container. But yeah, so I'm going to try that. And I don't know. I want to see if I can turn these into acrylic gouache. So yeah, so that's pretty much all my gouache. And I think what I'll do is end this video here, and then I'll do a new part 2 and show you my, like, actual watercolors, right? Like, my other watercolors that people consider watercolors. And clear a bunch of stuff off my desk so that I can do that a little bit more efficiently, because it's kind of piling up over here. So yeah, so that's that. Let me know if there's anything that you have questions about, or, you know, if you have any of these same products and what you like about them or dislike about them or whatever. Let's have a discussion about it. That'd be fun. I do read comments. Like, I'm pretty good about reading comments for the first few days after I post a video, but, like, I have to admit, like, sometimes after a few days, like, I'm not so great about answering comments, but I sometimes do come back and look at them eventually. But so yeah, anyway, if there's something you really want to know, like, like, hey, Jessica, where'd you get that? Or what do you do about this, or whatever, and you really have a question that you want an answer to, the best thing to do is to send me an email, allthecolorsofjess@gmail.com. Okay? All right. I love you guys, and thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Come on, y'all. You can do it. Just takes a second. It's free. Okay. Love you. Bye for now.